Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 1827, yikes, of What You Up To Now. Documenting the journey as I originally transitioned from the brick and mortar corporate world of business to the online world of business, and what I've done since I've been online, what's worked, what hasn't worked, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything I document and share here. Not absolutely everything, but a lot of stuff, right? If you have a question about anything that you want to know that I haven't really covered or that I'm not talking about, just ask, right? You can ask me one-on-one. You can direct message me if you're watching this on my Facebook or Facebook group pages. Otherwise, just Google me and direct message me, right? And, you might want to preface it, hey, I got a question or something, so that I don't ignore it, especially if we're not connected in any way yet. Anyway, I digress. Today in Supersize Your Business, we were talking about not balanced scorecard. That was I'm going to take another drink of coffee. Obviously, I need it. In our annual challenge, the Get Your Goals annual challenge. It's the topic of our challenge this year. Every day we're doing something to get what we want, to move us toward our goals and objectives. And for the last couple of weeks and today, we are talking about different types of goal frameworks, different ways of thinking about setting, achieving, the whole topic of goals. There's a lot of experts have different frameworks, and I just picked a bunch of them to share to start off this year for a lot of reasons, and we've talked about those, but primarily to get us open to the possibility of creating our own framework, our own process for doing what works best for us, because each of us are different. Now, today we were talking about balanced scorecard, and I actually, since I spent over a quarter century in corporate America as a manager and leader, meant I did budgets and goal setting for my divisions and departments, have got a lot of experience with balanced scorecards. And to me, it's more pre-gaming or pre-planning for setting our goals than it is actually, and then tracking them as we are working on those goals throughout a time period, usually a year. But there's 4 steps in this particular presentation of a framework for the balanced scorecard. Number 1, do a SWOT analysis. If you've never done a SWOT analysis, if you want some help with that, if you've got any questions about that, just ask me. I have literally done thousands of them throughout my life, throughout my career. I learned about SWOT analyses in college. In my engineering degree, it was one of the major tools that we used to analyze, both in business school as well as in engineering. I've got both a business degree, a couple business degrees, and an engineering degree. A SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, is in and of itself a framework for looking at a very big situation and breaking it down into little pieces that make sense for our mind to wrap our heads around and make decisions and choices and have a good investigative picture of what's the big picture around us. What are our strengths, personally, professionally, etc.? What are our weaknesses? What are things that we're not strong at that the competition might come in? And competition can be competition in relationships, competition in jobs, competition in businesses and business opportunities. And then 3 is opportunities. What are opportunities? Now, so often we limit our opportunities and our choices. We actually have infinite possibility and infinite opportunities around us all the time. People like to say, well, that was a once in a lifetime opportunity. Oh, I missed the opportunity. Guess what? No, you didn't. If you were ready for that opportunity, you would have taken advantage of it. You weren't ready for it. So start getting ready, so the next time a similar opportunity or an absolutely even better opportunity comes along, you will be ready to jump on and participate in it. And then T stands for threats. What are the threats in the environment? What are the threats from the competition? What are the threats or things that could prevent you from getting your goal, right? Threats, we all learned that pandemics can be a threat that most of us never even anticipated. So now that's on our radar. So when we think about what we're doing and choosing and going forward, one of those things we might have on our list is, hey, what if another pandemic comes along, etc. But don't let that freeze and paralyze you. Threats aren't to freeze and paralyze you. They're just to prepare your subconscious for coming up for solutions if things like that happen. What if the laws change? What if the mores and the values of the place that you live change, etc. Number 2, we evaluate last year's goals. What are the lessons that we learned from last year's goals? And maybe we learned that last year we didn't set goals, or that we gave up on our goals in March and August and July and whatever months we decided that we weren't going to achieve our goals in different areas and aspects of our life. Number 3, check your resources. And I say this is always an awesome thing to do. Do you have a running list? And I like to write it down. I mean, it's nice to have it in your head, but guess what? Our heads are full of stuff, right? And we don't always have access to it. Everything we need and ever have experienced is in our mind somewhere and in our brain somewhere. We just don't have a quick and easy way to access it all the time. So why not write it down in a little notebook and say, hey, this is my resources notebook. This is where I have people resources and maybe their information. This is where I keep my passwords maybe. This is where I have an inventory of what are my assets, what are my liabilities. You might want to throw those in there, even though they're not resources, they're pulling from your resources, right? Do you have a job, etc.? Do you have connections, or are you part of organizations that you can tap into to create what it is that you want in your life? So, and then finally, the number 4 of this particular framework is to let others know what your goal is. And of course, in organizations and in businesses, we always do this, right? Because we don't create and don't achieve our goals in a vacuum. We need other people's help. It's pretty true in our personal life too. But I will add that we should always decide who we're going to share our goals with judiciously, right? We don't just tell the whole world. We tell the people that will be a resource for us, will help support and encourage us when times are tough, right? Because I don't think I've ever set a goal and boom, it just happened, right? I think that the universe wants to test us and find out how serious we are about the things that we say we want before they just land in our lap. And maybe that's why they don't just land in my lap, because I believe that we need to prove that they're the thing that's right for us. All right, so balanced scorecard. We'll be talking about that more this year, because I think it's something that we need to do before we set any goal or objective. Last year we covered it. We did a SWOT analysis every time, and for each of the 9 months, for each of the 9 areas of our life that we talked about. We did a SWOT analysis on our physical well-being. We did a SWOT analysis on our mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, our relationships, our communication, and our confidence and our contribution. We did a SWOT analysis in each of those areas. And I would imagine we'll do that again this year. Why? Because it is one of my favorite tools. I've literally used it for 5 decades, 4 decades. I'm trying to think when I learned about it in college, if I was still an upper teenager, or if I was in my 20s. I don't know. Anyway, it's been a really, really long time. It's been at least 4 decades, closer to 5. Anyway, if I can help you in any way, hit me up. Otherwise, I will be with you tomorrow. Have a fabulous day. Again, if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. So many people are afraid to ask. I'm not afraid to ask, but I have this belief that I should always figure everything out on my own, or I should be able to figure it out myself. And I've learned that there are some things it's worth going through the process of figuring it out yourself. And other things, you just ask the question. Pick up the phone, type the question in. Heck, ask an AI, an artificial intelligence, Google it, do something, but don't be afraid to ask. All right, have an awesome day. I'll be with you tomorrow.